Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The final part of this series wants to present integration as a solution to the problem and to give the Western world a decisive definition from the Muslim perspective. Finally, it's about time for us Muslims to give advice to Western policymakers and to tell them what we really think and how we view this issue. The following 5 main integrative principles can be formed into lasting policies. First, the collaboration principle. As has been mentioned previously, integration is not a one-way street and must include both the majority as well as the minority population. It cannot be that as soon as there is a minority family moving into a majority area, the majority doesn't want to stay there anymore. Secondly, the no ghetto principle. The government will have to interfere and not allow ghettoization in the urban areas. The existing ghettos will have to be slowly but surely desegregated with allowing a mix of population, enacting policies of desegregation as well as policies of integration. Better education gives a chance for better employment, which allows better pay so that ethnic minorities could move into better off areas and mix with the majority population more easily. A good education, however, doesn't need to be expensive as Germany, Sweden and Scotland have shown us. In those countries, the university fees are non-existent or extremely low, so affordable for anyone. Thirdly, the education principle. Minority as well as majority communities would have to step up and inform each other about one another's way of life. This should increase the tolerance levels on both sides. Minority faith education should be compulsory at schools and community centers. Muslims should be allowed to inform the majority society about their faith from their perspective and to give advice how to deal with each other. They should listen to each other and try to find solutions together. However, it is important to clearly distinguish between culture and faith and tradition and Islam. Thus, there should even be Islamic education for the Muslims coming from a majority Muslim country. They would have to learn that certain practices in their countries of origin are not part of Islam and can be an obstacle for a proper integration. Fourthly, the language principle. Offer language classes for both the majority as well as the minority population. Teach Arabic, Urdu, Turkish classes to the Anglo-Saxon population because through language, culture can be understood better. Like this, the second and third generation Muslims would be connected to their roots and could build up self-esteem, learn or improve the majority's languages so that communication with each other is made easy. Fifthly, the revert principle. Involve the indigenous Muslim reverts in the education programs and let them explain why they have chosen Islam as their way of life voluntarily and without any force. If one sees their own ethnicity educating them about Islam, it will rather have a different impact on them to an Asian or African Muslim talking about their faith. Furthermore, Islamic history in Europe should be taught at schools and educational centers in order to show that Islam is not an immigrant religion and that it has had a place here since its beginning. By the way, all 3 main monotheistic faiths practiced in the West are imported from the Middle East and did not start in the West. As was already mentioned in the first episode, Canada is following a policy of multiculturalism which considers different cultures, traditions and faiths rather enriching the majority culture than threatening it. Austria introduced in 1912 as the first country in Europe the Islam law, a law that recognized Islam as part of Austrian society, that allows Islam to be taught at schools as a mainstream faith, Islamic scholars to be paid by the state and Islamic schools to exist. Muslim holidays have seen a certain recognition. In South America, countries such as Suriname, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha are celebrated nationally and even the presidents participate in their celebrations. Recognizing the 2 Eids and allowing Muslim workers and students to have at least a day off is a big part of showing appreciation for the Muslim population. This helps feeling integrated and being part of society.
Allah الله أكبر.
There is no doubt about it that the Indo-Pakistani influence on non-existing British cuisine has changed food culture in the UK. By the way, fish and chips are a Greek Cypriot invention, and German doner is originally not at all German. Instead of polemicizing the issue of the hijab, the niqab, and a minaret ban, the government should embrace diversity and rather educate its population about Islam, including involving the Muslim reverts. Muslim communities have to realize as well that integration has to come from them too. The khutbahs and the main activities in the mosques have to be conducted in the majority languages of the country, such as English, French, German. They have to understand that in order to also grab the second and third generation Muslims as well as the revert communities, they will have to address them in their main languages, and these are not Urdu, Turkish, Somali or Punjabi. They should know their Islam better in order to develop pride in this amazing, wonderful deen and not to feel inferior, because such an inferiority complex leads into deceptive integration, which is actually nothing else but sheer assimilation and loss of identity. So again, we see that integration requires much more effort and input, and not only from one side, but from everyone. The education principle is exactly the main reason why we are offering this series now. Our book and online course, Islamic History in Europe, are now available as well. For further information, visit our website, stephcaris.com, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.